what we're seeing from Harald is an overcorrection to the highest degree. Yes, you can stop pillaging and reaving and destroying nations, but you don't have to stop being strong.
In her final moments, Ida told Harald that it's fine to appreciate other cultures, but not at the expense of your own. That struck me.
I understand he changed his kingdom in his eyes for the better, but he's so focused on other nations. To me, it's like, not that you neglected your kingdom, but at the very least, you, no matter what, you kind of neglected your family. So you focus on this one, trying to further the degree of Elbaf, where like, yes, some things needed to change, because even this guy said, I guess the warrior business is done yet. We're going to see for reasons on, but also, because Ida even pointed out, do you understand what you're doing here? Yes, you want to change the violent ways of giants. That's fine, because they were, even Saul said it, the warriors of Elbaf, they're savages, because all they knew was just fighting and war. But we all know that it could be used for protection, as in to defend yourself, or from whatever. If you want to change violent ways, especially make peace with other countries, that's fine. Teach that, but don't lose, like Ida says, that warrior spirit in a way, because we're going to see later on the way he went about it, where it resulted to. If everyone wants this way, you gotta have the freedom to choose for themselves. But it seems like he's more like just obliterating it entirely. We're not even gonna teach it at all. Like, you're completely throwing out your culture. And this goes into like what Sebastian said, because he said he blamed, that culture is the one that stopped us from being married. Them being warriors does not stop you from being married. You know, that was your culture because that was the way you guys were warriors. But the culture, that's what the elders are saying, but you're the king. Sebastian brought up, you fought this hard to make these changes and sacrifice yourself and even willing to become a slave, but you're not really willing to step up to the elders when you're the king of the thing to change that marriage alliance, but you're changing the entirety of the culture. The culture for fighting does not stop you from marrying Ida. So they're not one and the same. Mm-hmm. You're viewing it the same, but it's not one and the same. Because to me, what Ida was saying it was good, like teaching Harald everything he knows for that aspect. But going into, she liked that, showing that Harald, there's a balance to this that you completely just ignored and threw out the window. There's the balance which you could have protected your country from the future dangers. Because also, too, he's saying that everything he knows was taught by Ida. And if the elders agree with what Harold is doing with the nation, who's the one that gave him this information? His wife. So that's a strong support of what making Elbaf better, but you don't want to have them to marry. You have to accept her beliefs, but not her marrying the king. He's changing the entire country. So it's just like,
I have something for this. I was going to save it for later.
No, I'm pretty much done.
It's something that somebody pinged me on the Discord for. It reminded me of the politics that we see in our current state of affairs. People of an older generation can get hung up on things that don't typically affect the majority of the population. And it can affect votes. It can affect elections. It can affect the laws and things and rules that are established or put in place. Like Lawrence mentioned, I kind of highlighted it last week. Harald marrying Ida doesn't really change anything for anybody in Elbaf at all, other than the people who are stuck in their ways and their bigoted thought process about the ability to marry and dilute the bloodline. I will give them some grace here in the notion that they might believe what they believe or think the way they believe because of the mural. On that mural, it does seem that an ancient giant is assisting Nika taking down whatever is going on there. Okay. So if in their mind, the king, that person is supposed to be the king of Elbaf, they need to be of ancient giant blood. But for the modern day, day-to-day, it's not going to impact anybody in any way, whether Harold marries Ida or marries Estrid. So it's kind of a weird balance, and like Lawrence is saying, they don't seem to care that he's changing Elbaf's culture and the structure that it's in, but they have a sticking point of that. So I was like trying to correlate it to what we see in modern politics, and I think we do see that in real life too, whether it's logical or illogical to you. You know what I mean? I think it's good on Oda to kind of highlight that, even if he wasn't intentional, even if it was, I don't know. But in general, that art imitates life, and that thought process, the willingness to accept changes here but not here, the steadfastness that they won't allow these changes, I do think we see that in modern politics. I like seeing the impact that Harald is seemingly making on the world with the Giants. So I know we've all attacked Harald for his methodology and how he's going about doing this, but for years the Giants have been looked at as a fearful nation and terrorizing humans and plundering and pillaging and all the stuff. And now, because of the Giants that are offshoots of Harold's efforts, even just in the Marines, they're starting to get a different reputation across the world. So I think that's good. Again, we don't agree with how he's gone about this and the willingness that he's gone to sacrifice to do this, but it is good to see that the Giants are getting a different perception across the nation, or reputation across the nation. And like Lawrence said, what we're seeing from Harald is an overcorrection to the highest degree. Yes, you can stop pillaging and reaving and destroying nations, but you don't have to stop being strong. You don't have to stop being able to fight. You don't have to fight every day. You don't have to go to war with everyone, but you can still train. You can still position yourself to defend Elbaf or attack negatives that you see in the world. It's an overcorrection. It's tough. The way he phrases it kind of bothered me in this chapter specifically because I owe it all to Ida taught me everything. And even in this chapter, Ida's like, nah, I ain't said to do all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you talking about, bro? I said, you don't have to be murking people. Like, you were a douche. You were just randomly attacking nations for no reason.
He was a big bully.
Yeah.
She just said stop bullying
Stop
people.
bullying people. I didn't say become a complete pacifist. I didn't say all that.
My thoughts on Ida's passing are bittersweet. Leading up to her death, I found myself frustrated with her seeming lack of involvement in Harald's, decisions. I've been pointed out for this. Harald was left largely unchecked, surrounded by yes men who reinforced his status as king. Ida was the one who originally sparked his ideas of cultural discovery and forward thinking, yet it felt like she left him to navigate the responsibilities alone. I got at her for that. Yes, Harald is his own man, I get it, but there's no doubt that Ida has always been the woman of his life. Her advice carries weight. Even if he doesn't always listen, a woman's guidance can serve as a man's moral compass. And she had every right to speak, yo. She wasn't his wife, but Harald believed she should have been. If anyone could influence him, it would have been Ida, the lifelong treasure of his heart, as he stated. And yet, it seemed like she never spoke up. Maybe she never had the chance because Harald was always away, or maybe she couldn't bring herself to confront him. Or perhaps she didn't even realize what needed to be said, so I have to grant her that. But in the end, she did. In her final moments, Ida told Harald that it's fine to appreciate other cultures, but not at the expense of your own. That struck me. The first real guidance she gave him on this issue came at the very end of her life. I couldn't help but feel frustrated, yo. This was something she could have said many times before, preventing mistakes that now seemed inevitable. I hate seeing people make avoidable mistakes, especially when they've already lost so much or are trying to do the right thing. Witnessing a chance for meaningful change that never comes to fruition is painful. And I understand Ida's position. Some traditions are deeply ingrained, but at the same time, certain cultural practices can be toxic or destructive. Look at the Shandorians, for example. When Kalgara sacrificed his daughter Moose to their false god Kashigami, Nolan intervened and stopped it. Initially, they hated him, but once they understood why he did it, they recognized the harm of their customs and never repeated it. Harald could have taken a similar path. I would have loved that. Violence begets violence, but controlled violence, strength used wisely, can maintain safety and preserve culture. A king should have the freedom to act according to what's right, even if it goes against tradition, such as marrying outside of his people. Harald could have preserved his people's strength while correcting destructive customs, such as what Lawrence stated earlier. So seeing Ida pass away was truly bittersweet. I criticize her absence when she first appeared, and to now witness her final moments feels like a loss. A bad W. I wish she had confronted Harald the same way Saul did. So some of my frustrations and lessons could have been shared while there was still time. And that's how I felt about it. So she's not a bad mom.
There you go.
All right.
That's what the people wanted to hear.
I just wish, she had a chance earlier.
Yeah, too many chances. Dude kept leaving.
Yeah.
I guess she could have got Denden Mushi or something.